Hello, Shane Henderson here. What we're going to do today is a little bit of pelvic floor work. So I just want to make sure that you create a space that is safe and uninterrupted for this, just as part of the practice, just so that you have the opportunity to really tune in and do what's comfortable for you. Okay, so here's our pelvis. We're going to be talking and trying to do some work through the pelvic floor. So a couple of landmarks. This is a pubic symphysis that I might use. These are the ischial tuberosities, which I commonly refer to as the sits bones, as many people do. And right back here is the coccyx that goes into the sacrum. Okay, it's a weird light up there. There we go. And so we're going to... So this is really like the bowl of the pelvic floor on the lower portion. And I'm going to look at trying to help tune in and also kind of release in the area. Okay? So that's a visual because sometimes that can be incredibly helpful. What we're going to do is have a ball like this. So it's a squishy ball. And we're going to start first on releasing the abs, because a lot of times we grip through the abs and that can cause like a lot of bracing and tension in through the pelvic floor. So we're going to just take a ball. So it's got squish, okay? It can't be super hard. This might actually be too much squish. So you'd want to play with what's comfortable for you. We're going to come back and we're going to put the ball starting low. So it's within that kind of where the pubic symphysis is. It's super, super low right now. Okay. Now for comfort, you can have yourself supported like this, or you can put your weight fully down on the ground. It's entirely up to you. And all we're going to do is just kind of shift the pelvis side to side. So we're just rocking. Try and relax into it. Let your belly hang, right? And then we're just going to move up a little bit. If you've had a C-section, this can be really good for bringing awareness back into that area. You may feel the burning numbness, any sort of sensation that you might feel over the scar if you haven't had any sort of work on it. So just notice that, don't give it any sort of emotion. If you can, just notice that, there's still potentially some work to be done on that. Then we're going to come up a little bit further. Now, if you're a big holder in your belly of tension, you might find this to be a little bit uncomfortable. And if so, again, you can put weight into your arms to support that, or you can drop in. We'll go up a little bit further. Obviously, before doing this, a bathroom break is wise. So you want to come up all the way just at the lower part of the rib cage. And then we can even do a little bit of side roll on. So come from the side and kind of roll the ball under on the side. So you're getting those external muscles and giving them a little bit of love. We don't want this to be uncomfortable. Like there shouldn't be any pain. And then we would switch sides. So what I'm doing is really kind of rolling. I'm kind of grabbing, taking my weight off when I'm on the side, dropping into it, and then kind of rolling the belly forward. So after this, we're going to take a harder squishy ball. Okay, so it's got a little bit of squish. Again, this is just like a kid's ball. And we're just going to put it in our glutes. Okay, and just kind of sit on it. Now again, lightly. Right now, most of my weight is in my arms, or I can drop more into it. And just kind of loosen up through the glutes. Now I am coming over and close to this ischial tuberosity, okay? So as I'm rolling the ball, I'm coming in through here, but I'm not crossing the midline. It's just on this side, up towards the sacrum, just feeling that sensation and just kind of dropping into the body and feeling, noticing where there might be differences. And if it feels good, you can stay there. If it doesn't, you can move on to another spot. And then we're going to do the other side. One will feel different than the other, and that's okay. You can alter your leg position. You could use a foam roller if that's what you have available to you. All right, and then we'll come off. And then we're going to go back to the ball, okay? And we're actually going to sit on it. Okay, so we're going to be sitting the pelvic floor, the sits bones on here. Now this shouldn't depending on your inflation, you may have to sit on a block and then put the ball underneath. So I'll show you what that looks like. And depending on your comfort as well, right? And all we're going to do here is breathe. Inhale. And as we exhale, see if we can't kind of melt into the ball a little bit. So if there's too much pressure, right? Because my ball looks significantly more under pressure than if I was down here, and feels different. So play with the height. As you exhale, feel if the ball kind of fills the pelvic floor space. And I'm not asking you to do a Kegel here. I'm just asking you to breathe and just notice the feedback you get from the pressure or sensation from the ball, okay? That's it. So tune into that for 30 seconds to a minute. And then we're going to get up and do a little dance. Oh, there's Charlie in the background. So now we're going to just hold through the rib cage. So I'm not asking you to hold it tight. Just hold for awareness. And we're going to do pelvic circles. Okay? So I'm just bringing awareness with my hands. Ideally, we want the pelvis to be moving independently from the ribs. And so your hands give you a little bit of that feedback. Notice that, one circle might be a D, and that's okay. If you do a lot of sitting, then it may be that coming through the extension part is challenging because we sit kind of tucked under a lot of the times. Maybe you want to try doing it without really moving through the knees and see what happens for you. And then let's try a figure 8. So we're going to circle this way, circle this way. And then go the opposite way, which is I just went the same way, I think. And notice when you have those little moments where you're like, I don't know what I just did. And see if you can reverse it. Okay? Because in those positions, so when we're tucked under, there's a shortening to the pelvic floor. When we're untucked, there's a lengthening to the pelvic floor. And so many of the pelvic floor exercises can really be focused on like contraction through, like if we're talking Kegels, contraction through this area. Not necessarily bringing in like how the bones function as we're moving. And so it's a really great exercise to release some of that tension in the pelvic floor in the entire area, because nothing happens in a vacuum in the body, right? It's not just the pelvic floor, it's things all around it, right up to your jaw, right down to your feet. So it's all connected, which is why that like hip movement is just so beautiful to help with loosening a little bit. All right.